Few films in modern superhero history have carried as much anticipation as Zack Snyder's Justice League. After the disappointing reception of Joss Whedon's 2017 theatrical cut, fans rallied for years under the Release the Snyder Cut movement, demanding to see the director's original vision, and their persistence paid off. In 2021, Snyder's definitive version finally arrived, restoring the scenes, tone, and narrative threads that had been stripped away. Unlike its predecessor, Snyder's cut was celebrated by both fans and critics alike. Audiences praised its cohesive storytelling, operatic scale, and emotional depth, qualities that tied together the arcs of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, completing Snyder's trilogy in a way that felt both epic and intimate. But beyond its sweeping narrative, Zack Snyder's Justice League stands as a layered experience packed with secrets. The film brims with fascinating trivia, clever Easter eggs, and subtle callbacks to DC Comics lore, rewarding sharp-eyed viewers with hidden details that enrich the story. So grab your popcorn, sit back, and get ready for another thrill ride into the world of Justice League. Zack Snyder explained that his cut of Justice League is made up only of footage he directed, with none of the scenes shot later by Joss Whedon for the 2017 theatrical release. When Snyder stepped away from the film due to a family tragedy, Warner Brothers brought in Whedon to finish the project, and Whedon added new scenes, reshot others, and changed the tone to be lighter and more comedic. Snyder has said that for his version, he completely removed all of Whedon's material, meaning every shot came from his original vision and filming. This makes the 2021 release not just a longer edit, but a fundamentally different movie that restores Snyder's intended story, tone, and style without any of the studio-mandated changes. The story of this movie is set very soon after the ending of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, only a few weeks after Superman's death, which makes the grief and urgency of the characters feel fresh and immediate. This timing explains why the world is still in shock, why Lois Lane is still deeply mourning, and why Bruce Wayne is quickly trying to form the Justice League before more threats arrive. In contrast, Whedon's theatrical cut suggested that more than a year had passed since Superman's death, which gave the impression that the world had already adjusted somewhat, and that the heroes had been inactive for a long time. The difference in timeline changes the emotional weight of the story, as Snyder's version emphasizes raw loss and quick response, while Whedon's version implies a slower build-up and a longer gap before the team comes together. After the theatrical release of 2017's Justice League, many fans and critics felt the movie didn't reflect Zack Snyder's original vision, leading to the rise of the social media campaign with the hashtag #ReleaseTheSnyderCut. Over the years, this movement grew stronger, not only catching the attention of Warner Brothers executives, but also raising money for charities connected to suicide prevention and awareness, reflecting Snyder's personal tragedy. In May 2020, during a virtual Man of Steel watch party, Snyder officially announced with Henry Cavill that his cut would be released. When Zack Snyder's Justice League debuted on HBO Max in 2021, it was met with major success, even earning congratulations from Avengers Endgame directors Anthony and Joe Russo on Twitter. The movie became the longest DC movie ever made, dethroning Avengers Endgame, which ran for 181 minutes, just over 3 hours, and surpassing Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises, which had a runtime of 165 minutes. Snyder's cut runs for a massive 242 minutes, just over 4 hours, making it not only the longest DC film, but also the longest comic book movie in general. It even beat Snyder's own Watchmen Ultimate Cut, which previously held the record at 215 minutes. This huge runtime reflects Snyder's choice to restore all the storylines, character arcs, and world building that were cut from the 2017 theatrical release, turning the film into a complete epic rather than a shortened version of his vision. Interestingly, this is not the first time Warner Brothers has released a director's cut under public pressure. They had faced a similar situation decades before Zack Snyder's Justice League, when fans pushed for a director's cut of Superman 2. The original director, Richard Donner, was fired by producers and replaced by Richard Lester, who changed the film's pacing and tone to be lighter than the original version. Many critics felt the sequel lacked the strength of Donner's vision, and in 2004, actress Margot Kidder revealed that Donner's version still existed. This sparked a fan petition that caught the attention of editor Michael Thau, who proved the footage was real and convinced Warner Brothers to release it. Thau and fellow editor Stuart Baird reassembled Donner's material, with Donner himself offering guidance. And they even brought back John Williams' original Superman score through archived recordings. The result was Superman 2: The Richard Donner Cut, released in November 2006, running 116 minutes compared to the 127-minute theatrical version, and timed to follow the summer release of Superman Returns. In the movie, there are a few notable cameos and voice roles that connect the film to both Superman's cinematic history and Snyder's past work. Mark McClure, who appears as Jerry, the friendly police officer to whom Lois Lane brings coffee at the Superman Memorial, and is later saved by Cyborg, played Jimmy Olsen in all 4 of Christopher Reeve's Superman films, as well as in Supergirl, making his presence a nostalgic nod to the classic era of Superman movies. Similarly, Carla Gugino provided the voice of the Kryptonian ship, continuing her long creative partnership with Snyder after working with him on Watchmen and Sucker Punch. Gugino had already voiced Kryptonian technology before, serving as the voice of the birthing device in Man of Steel and the ship in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Additionally, Zack Snyder has stated in a previous interview that Gugino was his choice to play Selina Kyle and Catwoman in the DC Extended Universe. Furthermore, Snyder himself makes a subtle cameo, appearing in the background as a customer at the coffee shop Lois visits early in the movie. There's a clever Easter egg during the scene where Iris West hits a truck. The vehicle is labeled Gardner Fox. This is a tribute to Gardner Fox, one of the most important comic book writers in DC history. Alongside editor Julius Schwartz, Fox is considered a founding father of the Justice League of America comics, having helped bring together DC's biggest heroes into one team for the first time in 1960. He also co-created the Golden Age Flash, Jay Garrick, back in 1940, laying the groundwork for the speedster legacy that Barry Allen continues. Additionally, the hot dog cart that is hit also says Granny Goodness Tube Steaks, and Granny Goodness is one of Darkseid's faithful generals who can be seen standing next to Darkseid when the Justice League defeats Steppenwolf. In January 2019, Zack Snyder created a special t-shirt as a thank you gift for fans who donated to support the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, a cause close to him after his family tragedy. The shirt's front artwork was designed to look like the Kabbalah Tree of Life, a mystical diagram from Jewish tradition, and was also said that it featured a coded map showing how his planned Justice League trilogy would have unfolded, with each branch symbolizing different story arcs and character journeys. On the back of the shirt, he included a quote from Joseph Campbell, the famous scholar who wrote about the hero's journey, saying, "All the gods, all the heavens, all the hells are within you." This tied Snyder's vision of superheroes to Campbell's idea that myth and heroism are reflections of human struggles and inner strength, making the shirt both a fundraiser and a symbolic piece of his storytelling philosophy. At DC Fandom in 2020, Zack Snyder revealed that his version of Justice League would be released as a 4-part miniseries, with each part acting like a chapter to make the long story easier to watch. However, in January 2021, Warner Media announced in an official press release that plans had changed, and instead of being split into episodes, the Snyder Cut would come out as one single feature-length movie. This decision meant fans would experience the full 4-hour film in one continuous viewing, rather than waiting for separate installments, making it feel more like a traditional cinematic release while still keeping Snyder's extended vision intact. The closing dedication of the movie reads, "For Autumn," honoring Snyder's daughter who tragically died at the age of 20 and whose loss was the reason he stepped away from the film. In 2017, Snyder has said the project became deeply personal, and the dedication was his way of making the finished cut a memorial to her. To further honor Autumn, Snyder chose Leonard Cohen's song Hallelujah, one of her favorites, to play in the trailer and again in the film's end credits. The song's themes of sorrow and hope matched both the movie's tone and Snyder's own grieving process, turning the film into more than just a superhero story. It became a heartfelt tribute to his daughter and a symbol of resilience through pain. Comic book legend Jack Kirby designed Darkseid, one of DC's most powerful villains, by modeling his physical look after actor Jack Palance, known for his sharp, intimidating features. For Darkseid's personality, Kirby drew inspiration from real-world figures, Adolf Hitler and Richard Nixon, giving the character traits of ruthless dictatorship and manipulative politics. Interestingly, Jack Palance's likeness was also used by artists outside DC, as he became the visual model for Marvel's Spider-Man villain Morbius, and for Dracula in Marvel's Tomb of Dracula comic series. This shows how Palance's striking presence influenced multiple iconic comic book characters, while Kirby's mix of Palance's look with the darker traits of Hitler and Nixon created Darkseid as both a terrifying warlord and a symbolic warning about tyranny. Zack Snyder nearly quit Justice League because of a dispute with Warner Bros. Over including Green Lantern in the post-credits scene. Snyder's original plan was to introduce John Stewart, one of the most popular Green Lanterns, but the studio blocked the idea, saying they already had separate plans for the character. After negotiations, Snyder and Warner Bros. Agreed to replace the cameo with Martian Manhunter. At the time, actor Trevante Rhodes was rumored to be Snyder's choice for Jon Stewart, but later Snyder revealed that he had actually filmed the scene with actor Wayne T. Carr in the Green Lantern costume. Although Carr's footage was never used in the final cut, Snyder released a photo of him in the suit, giving fans a glimpse of what his original vision would have looked like. Interestingly, there are actually 2 Green Lantern Corps members who make cameo appearances. First, Yalin Gur is shown in the ancient flashback battle helping defend Earth against Darkseid. Later, during Cyborg's visions while resurrecting Superman, the body of a Green Lantern, resembling Kilowog, the famous drill instructor of the Corps, is briefly seen, symbolizing the heavy losses in the fight against Darkseid. Producer Deborah Snyder revealed that Ezra Miller filmed his extra scenes for Zack Snyder's Justice League while working on Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. And because Snyder couldn't be there in person, he directed Miller remotely through Zoom. Meanwhile, Ben Affleck and Jared Leto shot their new Batman Joker sequence separately, meaning they weren't actually on set together during the filming. These unusual production methods show how Snyder and his team managed to add fresh material to the Snyder Cut, despite scheduling conflicts and restrictions, using creative solutions like remote direction and separate shoots to bring the expanded story to life. According to reports that surfaced after the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League, Snyder's original ideas for a sequel to Man of Steel included bringing back the surviving members of General Zod's insurrection, the Kryptonian soldiers who Superman and Lois Lane had previously banished into the Phantom Zone. These returning enemies would have posed a renewed threat to Earth, tying directly back to the events of the first film. Alongside them, Snyder planned to introduce Brainiac. Brainiac would have served as the central antagonist, combining raw power with advanced intellect, making him a formidable foe for Superman. In the climactic moment, Cyborg enters a digital vision created by the Mother Boxes as he tries to stop the Unity. Inside this nightmare-like world, the boxes tempt him with the chance to regain his human body and even bring back his deceased parents, offering him everything he lost. Victor resists the illusion, showing his strength by rejecting the false promise and pulling the boxes apart. In this vision, the Mother Boxes then appear as 3 twisted, demonic hags with glowing eyes, which many fans believe are modeled after the 3 Sisters of Fate from Greco-Roman mythology figures who controlled destiny and life itself. This interpretation fits Snyder's style, since he often draws inspiration from mythological imagery to give his superhero stories a deeper symbolic meaning, turning Cyborg's choice into a modern echo of resisting fate and embracing free will. And that wraps up our deep dive into Zack Snyder's Justice League. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for more intriguing deep dives into the stories and creative choices that shape the films we love, and share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on the fun. Until next time, thanks for watching, stay sharp, and we'll see you in the next video.